They came from nowhere, broke every rule in K-pop, and lost it all just as fast.
You push and pull me like gravity. I fall for you, every part of me.
A miracle that turned into chaos, and somehow started again. This is 50/50. In late 2022, the K-pop industry was running like a well-oiled machine. HYBE ruled with hit after hit, SM carried its decades of legacy, and JYP and YG completed the so-called Big Four, the giants that shaped the scene. They had everything: power, resources, and a formula that almost guaranteed global success. Attract had none of that. A small independent label operating far from the major league system. Their CEO dreamed big, but had little to work with. The odds of making a splash were close to impossible, yet on the 18th of November 2022, Attract took a shot and debuted 50/50 with their first EP, The 50. 4 members stepped into the spotlight: Kina, Aaron, Seo, and Sena. Their name, 50/50, symbolized balance. The 50/50 chance between chasing dreams and facing reality, with the hope of reaching 100% together with their fans. Their debut track, Higher, carried a smooth R&B warmth, calm, refreshing, and far from the high-energy sound dominating K-pop at the time. The response, however, was quiet. No viral buzz, no instant fame, just 4 rookies trying to be heard in a crowded scene. For a company barely anyone knew, it wasn't surprising. But Attract wasn't done yet. They still had one more card to play. On the 24th of February 2023, 50/50 returned with a single album titled
I give a second chance to Cupid.
At first glance, it was a simple pop confession. A gentle melody about falling in love, carried by soft vocals and an effortless hook. But hidden in that release was a clever move. The twin version, an English adaptation specifically designed for global listeners. The twin version stripped away rap sections, leaving a purely vocal-driven track. The focus was melody. No heavy drops, no complex layers, just clean, emotional pop. Made by Swedish composers Adam von Menser, Mac Fellender-Tsai, and Louise Uden, it sounded effortlessly universal, the kind of song that could play anywhere. Only Seo and Aaron handled the vocals, their soft tones blending into a sound that Western listeners instantly found familiar. It was a bold move, a global strategy built around a version that broke many K-pop norms. But Attract trusted the song. Instead of chasing flashy concepts, they doubled down on what mattered most. A melody people would genuinely want to play again and again. For the first few weeks, Cupid moved in silence. It picked up small traction overseas, quietly spreading through playlists, but without any real breakthrough. Then, TikTok changed everything. It started with one fan who decided to speed up the Cupid twin version and post it on TikTok. The result hit differently. The already catchy hook turned addictive, the faster tempo fit perfectly with short-form videos, and the English lyrics made it instantly accessible. Soon, TikTok was flooded with clips, dance trends, lip syncs, skits, aesthetic edits, and relationship content, all powered by a song people genuinely loved for its sound. By March 2023, the numbers were impossible to ignore. The sped-up fan version alone appeared in over 2.6 million TikTok videos, while the original twin version quickly followed, adding millions more. By May, Cupid had soundtracked over 8 million clips, pulling in more than 12 billion views worldwide. From Asia to Europe to the Americas, people everywhere were falling for the same simple melody about love. Then the chart started moving. On the 27th of March 2023, Cupid entered the Billboard Hot 100 at number 100, making 50/50 the fastest K-pop group ever to do it, just 130 days after debut. The ones who came before had major labels and huge fan bases behind them. 50/50 had none of that. Just a great song, a clever dual version strategy, and pure organic momentum. The climb didn't stop there. Cupid eventually peaked at number 17, becoming the highest charting K-pop girl group song at the time and the first non-collaboration track by a girl group to break the top 20, spending a remarkable 25 weeks on the Hot 100, a record run. Globally, the takeover was even bigger. It hit number 1 on Billboard's global excluding US chart, cracked the UK top 10, making 50/50 the first K-pop girl group to do so without a collaboration, and charted in over 50 countries, a reach that usually takes years, not months. By April 2023, Warner Records signed 50/50 to a distribution deal, betting on the global buzz they'd already created. Western media picked up the story, the tiny K-pop group that somehow outplayed the giants. By year's end, TikTok crowned Cupid the top song of 2023, used in over 20 million videos. The industry watched in disbelief. For small Korean agencies, 50/50 became proof that great music could break through without big money or massive backing, the ultimate underdog miracle. But beneath the global success, something strange was happening. While Cupid ruled charts across the US, UK, and beyond, it barely made a ripple in Korea. The same song that turned 50/50 into global stars went mostly unnoticed at home. A Korean group from a Korean company, singing in English, thriving everywhere except Korea. Still, the momentum looked unstoppable. 50/50 was set for KCON LA, a Barbie Dreams music video collab, and a clear path to ride their global wave even higher. Then, everything collapsed. In June 2023, the fairy tale cracked. All 4 members of 50/50 filed to suspend their contracts with Attract, claiming accounting issues and health neglect. The timing shocked everyone. The group was at their global peak, fresh off record-breaking success. Attract hit back, accusing producer Sion and his team, The Givers, of manipulating the members and trying to steal the group, even hinting at involvement from Warner Music Korea. What followed was chaos. Lawsuits, counterclaims, and headlines that turned the miracle story into a scandal. Public sentiment flipped overnight. The same girls once praised as underdogs' miracles were now branded as betrayers. Activities stopped, schedules froze, and Cupid's echo hung over a group that suddenly couldn't move forward. When the court ruling arrived in August, Attract won. The injunction was dismissed. No breach of contract, no proven neglect. Then in October, Kina returned to Attract, while the other 3 continued their legal fight, only to have their contracts terminated days later. By year's end, the company filed a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against the former members, their parents, and The Givers, sealing one of the fastest collapses in K-pop history. In less than 6 months, 50/50 had gone from miracle to meltdown. And when the dust settled, only Kina remained, carrying the name of a group that no longer existed as Attract prepared to rebuild it from the ashes. In early 2024, Attract began holding auditions, a quiet but crucial step toward rebuilding 50/50. This time, the mission wasn't just to form a new girl group. It was to revive a name that had once ruled global charts but now carried the weight of controversy. The company searched for trainees who could stand beside Kina, someone who had witnessed both the rise and fall and help rebuild from zero. By June 2024, Attract announced that 50/50 would return as a 5-member group. The new lineup was set to debut in the second half of the year, with months of preparation ahead, training, recording, and figuring out how to reintroduce a name that the world remembered for all the wrong and right reasons. Between August 8 and 12, 2024, Attract revealed the new 50/50 lineup one by one. Joining Kina were 4 fresh faces, Chanel and Yeowon, both former RU Next contestants who had come close to debuting with Islet. Hana, a longtime trainee who first appeared on Mnet's We Kid as a child. And Athena, a Swedish-born trainee of Taiwanese-Korean heritage who had previously auditioned for SM and High Up. Each carried a different story, one from survival shows, one from childhood stages, one from overseas, but together they shared the same task: to rebuild a name once shattered and prove that 50/50 could rise again. While Attract rebuilt 50/50, the three former members were moving forward too. Sena, Aron, and Seo signed with Massive ENC and formed a new trio called A Bloom. Their debut would mark a rare moment in K-pop, two groups born from the same story, set to compete in the same field. One carried the official name, the other the original voices behind Cupid. For the first time, fans had to decide which version of the story they believed in. For Kina, the weight was enormous. She was the bridge between eras, the only one who'd lived through 50/50's rise and collapse. Her presence carried both continuity and expectation. For the new members, the challenge was proving they weren't replacements. Every performance would be compared to the Cupid era, every note measured against voices that came before them. To move forward, Attract decided not to chase the past. They coined a new sound, FIFTYPOP, a blend of melody-driven emotional pop meant to honor Cupid while redefining the group's future. But it was a delicate balance. Stay too close, and they'd be called copycats. Stray too far, and they'd lose their identity. On the 30th of August 2024, the world would see the result. Starry Night arrived as the new 50/50's first step into the spotlight. Built on the 50-pop sound, it carried soft vocals, clean melodies, and a quiet sense of hope, a reflection of both their story and their sound. It felt connected to Cupid, but not trapped by it. The response was cautious but warm. Old fans stayed skeptical, yet the new lineup showed promise. Stable vocals, balanced harmonies, and chemistry that hinted at potential. Starry Night didn't chase virality, it rebuilt trust. On the 20th of September 2024, 50/50 dropped their comeback EP, Love Tune, led by the title track SOS. The song leaned deeper into the emotional, easy listening sound, gentle yet urgent, with lyrics about reaching out for connection. It almost mirrored their own story, a group calling out, hoping to be heard again. Critics praised the EP's consistency. No filler, no weak tracks, calling it a no-skip release. But they also noted how the group now faced competition in a sound they themselves had popularized. 50/50 had set the trend. Now they had to stand out within it. To reconnect with fans, the new lineup took to the streets for live busking performances, singing without polish or production. It was their way of showing they still had it, not to chase Cupid, but to remind everyone why 50/50 mattered in the first place. In December 2024, 50/50 returned with Winter Glow, a digital single that embraced the season's warmth while staying true to their 50-pop sound. It showed the group's ability to shift moods without losing identity. A month later, they dropped Love Tune Rewired, a remix EP that reimagined their earlier tracks with new arrangements, a creative way to refresh familiar songs while buying time for their next original comeback. On the 7th of April 2025, everything changed. Perfect Crime dropped as a pre-release single, darker, moodier, and more mature than anything 50/50 had done before. The track pulsed with 80s-inspired synths and a slick, cinematic edge, trading the sweetness of Cupid for a bold villain persona. The release marked a turning point. 50/50 was stretching the boundaries of 50-pop, exploring darker, bolder sounds while keeping the emotional core that had defined the group from the start. On the 29th of April 2025, 50/50 dropped their EP Day and Night, led by the double title tracks Pookie and Midnight Special. Pookie leaned into R&B, giving space for richer melodies and vocal layering, while Midnight Special embraced retro disco pop energy with a modern twist. The dual title approach showed range, confident, experimental, yet still cohesive. In May, Kina paused activities due to health concerns, a reminder of how demanding the past year had been. She returned in July, rejoining the group just as momentum was building again. On the 4th of November 2025, 50/50 released Too Much Part 1, their third digital single. The album featured 3 tracks, led by the title song Eeny Meeny Miny Mo, a sleek pop track that balanced catchy hooks with emotional undercurrents, a reflection of how far the new lineup had come. The EP's standout surprise was Skittles, a hip-hop-driven track that broke away from the 50-pop framework with punchy beats and rap sections. It was their boldest move yet, and it paid off. Critics praised the versatility, noting how the group was no longer chasing the shadow of Cupid, but carving out a sound that felt entirely their own. 50/50 had found their rhythm again, not by rewriting their past, but by finally defining their future. 50/50 took the most unusual path in K-pop, from viral miracle to near death to complete rebuild, all within 3 years. They were the fastest act to hit the Billboard Hot 100, powered not by hype or big budgets, but by a single song that spread on its own. They went global before they ever found their footing at home, becoming a group that lived more in playlists than on Korean stages. Then, right in the middle of their rise, it all came crashing down. 3 members gone, lawsuits everywhere, the dream split in half. They rebuilt with 1 survivor and 4 newcomers who carried both legacy and controversy. They created FIFTYPOP to honor their past while carving space to grow. And through it all, they competed with their own former members who formed a rival trio. No one else in K-pop has walked this road. No other rookie climbed that high, fell that hard, and still came back under the same banner. 50/50 proved that miracles can happen and that they can break too. Now, the group stands between memory and reinvention. Whether they rise again or fade quietly, their story already changed K-pop. They showed that even small agencies can break global walls, that virality can rewrite the rules, and that behind every hit, there's still a system fragile enough to crack. Maybe that's the real 50/50. Half miracle, half mess, but somehow still standing and still reaching for that 100%. 50/50 dared to be bold. Will you?